Good morning, everybody. I want to first of all welcome you here today to the rededication of the Timothy Holster Park here in the City of Champions on West Chestnut Street. I want to first of all thank the Holster family. I want to thank Peggy Zuko for being here, sister of Timothy. Paul Stadinsky is here, a relative of Mr. Holster. I know there are a lot of friends and family here today. We would not be here today without the efforts of Congressman Stephen Lynch, so we are so thankful that the Congressman could join us here today. I want to thank Senator Mike Brady for being here, State Representative Rita Mendez for being here, Councilor Jack Lally for being here, Tim Sullivan, school committee member from Ward 7 for being here. I want to thank Jerry Chipman. Jerry, do you mind raising your hand? Jerry is he is working on all of the ARPA projects, the American Rescue Plan Act, all the federal money that we received. I had made a pledge. We did a wonderful ribbon cutting yesterday at the War Memorial. We will continue to use that money for legacy projects. City Hall is one. The Mary Cruz Kennedy Council on Aging Senior Center, 5,000 square foot addition. But I also made a pledge to go around the 7 wards and 28 precincts in the city of Brockton for playgrounds and parks. This is the first park ribbon cutting that we'll be doing. I want to thank Tim Carpenter. Tim, do you mind raising your hand? The Parks Commissioner. I want to thank Chick Stadinsky on behalf of the Parks for being here as well, and a proud Vietnam veteran. I want to thank all the veterans. If you're a veteran, could you please raise your hand? We thank you so much for your service. Robert Graham from the VFW Post, Senior Commander, I thank you for your service, Vietnam veteran. Anthony Tony O'Brien, a Marine and a Navy SEAL, American Legion Commander, thank you very much, sir. So at this time, I do want to say a few words, and then our wonderful, excellent Congressman Stephen Lynch will share some words as well. And we will hear from former city councilor, former police chief Paul Stadinsky as well on behalf of the Holster family today. But I do want to just thank you. This is an absolute beautiful day in the city of Brockton, but it's an important day. I want to express again my utmost gratitude to Army Specialist Timothy Holster's family. The park is named for this young Brocktonian who gave his life and paid the ultimate sacrifice in Vietnam, defending the freedom that we all enjoy today. He was only 19 years of age when he passed away. My oldest son, Tommy, is just a few years younger than when Timothy paid the ultimate sacrifice. His family's presence here today marks this to be a truly extraordinary historic event here in the city of Brockton. I want to thank all of the local, state, and federal elected officials. When I talk about the federal delegation, again, Congressman Stephen Lynch has been an unbelievable advocate for the city of Brockton, for our Commonwealth, and for our country. We also have Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Ed Markey that have advocated for the City of Champions, all 106,000 residents in our fine city. But again, Congressman Lynch has always supported veterans, always supported veterans. We were just 2 weeks ago up at the VA, and he is working again to help veterans by giving housing opportunity, because a lot of our homeless folks are veterans, and that is just wrong and shameful, and we will continue to work. But the congressman and his team has been instrumental in securing these unbelievable ARPA money. We received $34 million as a direct deposit from the federal government to the city of Brockton, and then an additional little over $17 million more from Plymouth County, who received their own tranche. And being the only city in Plymouth County, we received significant money. I made a pledge at that time, again, to use the money for legacy projects that we can all be proud of, but the next generation, the boys and girls that are going to be shooting hoops on this, that are the next generation. That's what the money is being used for. But also, I did give $2 million to 43 different nonprofits to help Brocktonians right now in the year 2024. We spent $170,000 to renovate this wonderful basketball court, including stripping, repaving, and painting the service. It's been a comprehensive project. I want to thank a gentleman, Dan Pallotta. That name may ring a bell. He used to be a county commissioner here in Plymouth County. We put out a request for proposal to get someone that could help us on all these ARPA projects. We figured if we had one person, we'd save more money, and we could utilize that money to maximize the return on that dollar amount. Dan was the only one who applied. Dan is working on every project. He's either under budget or on budget. And again, I really want to thank him for his leadership and his expertise. These upgrades, again, were funded 100% by the ARPA money. They also have been supporting all of the other improvements in our fine city that I listed earlier. The parks and playgrounds are pivotal. For many, many, many years, our parks and playgrounds, for really no reason other than we didn't have the money. They came into disrepair, and Tim and his team did the best they could do, right? Put Band-Aid approaches on it. But now with millions of dollars of money that coming in from our federal government, we're able to really beautify and maximize these wonderful spots throughout the city of Champions. So I want to just thank you. All of the projects should be completed other than the Ash Street Playground by October. So we're on cue right now to get all of these. We'll be having a lot more ribbon cuttings. But I want to first of all just tell you why we're here today and who this park is named after. It's named after in honor of Army Specialist Timothy Holster, who we thank profusely for, again, his ultimate sacrifice and his commitment to the freedom based upon the greatest nation in the world, the United States. He was the son of Edwin and Grace Holster. He grew up on Menlo Street here in Brockton. He graduated from Brockton High. He was a proud boxer. He graduated in 1965. He began his service in Vietnam on April 13th in the year 1966 with the 1st Infantry Division. Tragically, just about 6.5 months later, on November 1, 1966, he was killed in action at the young age, again, of 19. His bravery and sacrifice were recognized with the Bronze Star Medal for Valor and also the Purple Heart. We are deeply, deeply privileged and honored to have Specialist Holster's family with us today, and we really extend a special welcome to his sister, Mrs. Margaret Peggy Zuko, for being here, and her son and daughter. As a Gold Star sister, your sacrifice and your honor and your commitment to the city and your brothers is deeply appreciated, and we offer a heartfelt condolences to you, Peggy, and your family. We are really grateful for Timothy's sacrifice. He was a Brocktonian, and once a Brocktonian, always a Brocktonian. I would like at this time to invite an honorary Brocktonian. He grew up in Southie, but it just as easily could have been Brockton, Massachusetts, Congressman Stephen Lynch.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. It's great to be back in Brockton. I want to just say thank you to my colleagues in government. You know, this is a real team here, and Bob Sullivan is our quarterback. But all this work with the ARPA money, and Bob mentioned the $34 million that we got directly, and then the other $17 million we got from through the county. But this funding was different. So with the beginning of the pandemic, as many of you realize, we had a huge drop locally in tax revenue. So that's usually how we pay for projects, right? Revenue coming in through taxes. Well, with the lack of economic activity during the COVID pandemic, all of that stopped. So Congress stepped up and we decided to do something different, because we had 50 states all in different situations. Some states were denying there was a problem, some were accepting there was a problem and were trying to fix things. But we decided, rather than do what the government usually does, which is just push money out and tell people how to spend it, we said we're going to ask the local communities what they think their priorities should be. What should we asked our mayors and our state delegations, Senator Brady, Representative Dubois, Representative Mendez, Representative Cassidy, as well as the mayor. What are the projects that are the really priority projects for you that you'd really like to get done but have never had the money? And so the mayor has been tremendous. Our state delegation, our city councilors have been terrific in providing direction on how this funding has gone. So this has been a real team effort. Even though the money is federal in its origin, the direction of the money and the projects themselves are really a collaboration between federal, state, and local government. So I want to acknowledge as well, my mother-in-law is a Gold Star sister as well. And her brother Arnie Bailey, was killed in his first parachute jump over the Rhine in May of 1945. So just a couple of a few weeks actually from the end of the Second World War in Europe. And my mother-in-law, she lived with us for 30 years. She recently passed away at 92. She used to say that days like this, when we remembered, like on Veterans Day and Memorial Day, when we remembered her brother Arnie, those were her best days. And she felt like her community, while she carried that burden 365 days a year, she felt like on those days when the community got together to remember her brother, those were her best days. And so she said that because she felt like everybody else helped her carry her burden on those days. So I'm hoping today, with all of you and the kindness that you've shown to the Holster family, that hopefully Mary and your family feel that our community, the city of Brockton, the state of Massachusetts, the United States of America, we're remembering your brother on this day. And I give great credit to Mayor Bob Sullivan in choosing this project as a way to remember a young Brocktonian who I think epitomized what was best about America in 1966, and his willingness to put on that uniform on behalf of our country and to serve. There's a great book that's out right now. It's #1 on the New York Times seller list. It's called The Women. It's by Kristen Hanna. And while it's a novel, it's a fictionalized account of the experiences of Diane Carlson Evans, who was a combat nurse who served in Vietnam at the same time that Specialist Holster was there. And the essence of the book is really about remembrance, about recognizing the service of those men and women who went to war in a very unpopular war and came back and who were not truly given the recognition and appreciation and love that they deserved. It was a hard time. Thankfully, the United States has reconciled and realized that it was wrong to not welcome and embrace and honor every single Vietnam veteran. Now when you go into an airport, you know, if you have soldiers coming back from Iraq or Afghanistan, the announcement, instead of the rough welcoming that Vietnam veterans received when they returned from Vietnam, the intercom says, members of the military, please go to our USO lounge. We have a special, place for you to sit and relax while you're waiting for your flight. That wasn't the experience of many veterans coming back from Vietnam. But thankfully, our country has reconciled and understood that it was wrong not to welcome those Vietnam veterans with open arms and appreciate what their service represented to all of us. That book, called The Women, and Diane Carlson Evans went on to become the founder of the Vietnam Nurses Memorial on the Mall in Washington, D.C. That book was dedicated to the memory of her brother, who was killed in Vietnam, and all those like Specialist Holster who made that supreme sacrifice on behalf of their country. So I want to thank the mayor. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful addition. There's a pattern in the mayor's priorities. The last 3 federal appropriations went to the Cosgrove Pool to recognize another son of Brockton who was killed, the first resident of Brockton killed in the Second World War. The Veterans War Memorial, which recognizes all veterans and honors all veterans from all wars and service to this country. And now the wonderful job and the courts here dedicated to the memory of Specialist Holster and of course in honor of his service to our country. So thank you for being here today. May God bless our troops and all those veterans who have served our country. God bless our Gold Star families. And may God continue to bless these United States of America. Thank you.
Now you know why I say we have the greatest congressman in the United States that represents us. Steve Lynch is the real deal. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you. This time, another Vietnam veteran who is really the example of a public servant, Paul Studenski, former police chief. I had the honor and privilege to serve with him on the city council. He's just an unbelievable, unbelievable man, and he's here to speak on behalf of Timothy Holster's family. Counselor.
Good morning, everybody. Pleasure to see you all. I'm going to be quick. My dad was known for a few words, so I'm going to be quick and explain everything real good. 1966, actually 65, we graduated. My cousin Timmy Holster, a bunch of people who were here, and they actually did a program, TV program, called Class of 65. It wasn't very pretty, but we all knew that we were going to get taken into the service, so we had to make some decisions. But I have to go back even further. I go back to Timmy and I were born the same year. I was born in May, and he was born in August, and we were best buddies right to the end. And I can think of all the good things, all the funny things. We had so much fun. A lot of the policemen in Brockton knew us personally. But we really did. And Timmy was somebody who knew what he wanted. He wanted to become like his brother Ned, who jumped out of airplanes and stuff. And he went into the service, and I didn't go right in. When he headed overseas, I was just going in down in Fort Dix, and I was lucky enough to land 5 miles away from where he was. He was in a place called Zion. I was at the major base called Long Bin, and we corresponded. And for all the family here, different letters I got. Example, he had R&R, had a great time, and didn't share too much more than that. So I figured the police in Thailand must have known him too. But it was an odd time. The fun we had was just unbelievable. We used to travel up here. The sewer beds were over there, and we would come up here and throw stuff at the sewer beds and things like that. He was a great cousin, a great friend, a fantastic person, a really patriotic guy, and there's just nothing, I can't think of anything bad that ever happened between us. He's just a great guy, and I had the luck. He was the 1st Infantry, Big Red 1, and he was the first of the 18th was his outfit. And, we used to run convoys down to them, and I met the chaplain, and I actually asked him, "Did you know Tim Holster?" He says, "Oh," he says, I remember Tim." He says, he was a lot of fun. And I agreed totally. Didn't tell the priest that what we did was fun, but, and the family, wonderful. Wonderful people. And very talented too. With that, I'm going to cut it because that's what my dad would do. Timmy was just, for anybody who didn't know him, he was just a ray of sunshine. Thank you very much, and thanks for being here for the dedication.
At this time, I would ask Senator Mike Brady to please come to the podium. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to echo the words of our former police chief and Councilor Paul Studenski. His father, we miss him greatly. He's up in heaven with the rest of the crew, and his famous words were, "The fish that opens his mouth is the one that gets caught." So it's so true. But my sister graduated in 65 with Paul and with Timmy and a lot of others, and my cousins were in Vietnam, and we've lost a lot of good friends. And what the mayor said and the congressman said, you know, they weren't recognized and honored when they came back, and it's so sad. But this week we've had a lot of celebrations to honor our veterans. We lost a couple kids in Iraq that we honored them this week. And September 11th, a lot of the firefighters and police officers that died on September 11th, a lot of those were veterans too, and we're grateful to honor them, and we must never forget, because if not for the veterans, we wouldn't be able to assemble in a free assembly like we are today. And we've got a great federal delegation, Senator Markey, Senator Warren, but Congressman Lynch is like family to us. He's one of us. He's been so supportive of us in Brockton, and we're grateful to have him as our congressman, because he's like family to us in the city of Champions. So we're grateful for all the work he's done. And the ARPA money has been so important for cities like Brockton. We wouldn't survive without it. So if I can get the Holster family up here, I just got a small gesture to present to you, which isn't enough, because Timmy gave his life for our country, but this is a citation from the state senate. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to the family of Timothy Holster in recognition of honoring the memory of Purple Heart and Bronze Star Medal for Valor recipient Army Specialist Timothy Holster through the dedication of the Timothy Holster Memorial Park in the city of Brockton, and be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends best wishes for continued success. If this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate, Karen Spilka, the Clerk, Michael Early, and myself, Mike Brady, and I'm just grateful to be a part of this celebration on Timmy, and God bless you and your family, and thank you for everything you do. So.
I also have an official City of Brockton official citation. Be it known, the Mayor of Brockton hereby extends his congratulations to Ms. Margaret Peggy Zuko in recognition of the sacrifice of your beloved brother, Army Specialist Timothy Holster, with the rededication of the Timothy Holster Memorial Park. The City of Brockton wishes to ensure that Timothy's legacy will continue to inspire and remind us the value of freedom and service to our fine nation. Therefore, it gives me great pleasure to present this citation to you as a symbol of not just my appreciation, our collective appreciation, and I proudly give it to you today, the 13th day of September in the year 2024, Peggy. So at this time, what I'm going to do, typically when you come to ribbon cuttings, all the elected officials get up there and cut it, right? Today I'm going to ask the Holster family and the elected officials, we're going to stand behind you because we support you wholeheartedly. So again, if the Holster family wouldn't mind coming to the podium, coming to the ribbon over there, and again, we are just so proud to be here.
Is there a count or anything? Just do it.
I believe in you.
Just do it.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Oh, perfect.
I say 3, 2, 1.